while it continues to seek the dissolution of the association. This development was made known when the FIFA and CAF liaison team met Ghana League Clubs Association GALCA at the Alisa Hotel in Accra today. In a press release signed by Francis Otiakenten, who is a member of the liaison team, government has decided to bear the full cost of salaries owed the GFA, but the GFA has challenged the Attorney General's petition at the High Court. The GFA is responsible for paying the salaries of its staff who accidentally have been out of work since the Football Association was declared a crime scene. Now, I've been joined here by my colleague, Nathan Kwao. Nathan, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi. Welcome.
This is quite interesting. How has this meeting been?
Yes, so like you said, there was a meeting of the liaison team put together by CAF and FIFA, and they met the various clubs, club owners, and then the League Clubs Association, GALCA. The decision to pay the workers is extremely significant because it kind of softens the club's stance towards the government, and it brings the government right back into this equation. Up until last week, the FA was standing firm, insisting that government's plan to dissolve it was wrong and unlawful based in law. But now it looks like the government is trying to win the clubs to its side by getting to pay the salaries of the FA's workers. Now, if government is already contending with the FA and its workers are being paid by government, it kind of softens the FA stance and puts government into a very good place. The other thing it does is that it lets government go on the same side as the clubs. Let's not forget, most of the club owners were there. Very significantly, Hearts of Oaks owner, Toby Afede, he rarely goes anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere, but he showed up at the meeting and urged the clubs to follow the recommendations, and they should come together to work together with the liaison team. That means that, you know, government may have its way ultimately because it is working through the liaison committee, and if the clubs all come together and they are working closely with the government through the liaison committee, it makes things very easy for government to push through whatever reforms it may have through the clubs. It's also important to note that the FA, like you stated, they pay their own salaries to its workers. And so once you get that out of the way, it makes it easier for government to maneuver its way. Plus, the national teams are also still functioning. Remember, Ghana is not under a FIFA ban, so national teams have to work, and so the liaison committee is ensuring that the Black Maidens, the Black Princesses, two of our junior female teams get to compete in their under-17 and under-20 World Cup. This Friday, you have the Black Satellites playing a qualifier against Benin. Those are the men's under-20 teams. So they need to get all of these things going, and they're already showing or playing their hand that they are ready to get football working in Ghana. Clubs have complained that the inactivity is killing them. And so if you look at the way all of this is turning out, eventually we could have football back quite soon, and this could make the clubs very happy. And like I said, if the clubs are happy, they will follow through with almost everything government says, and then that could leave the EXCO a little isolated, and then government can decide to deal with them in the law court and see if they will win or not. Right,
so considering how events have turned out, you know, in the past 1 month, can we proudly say that we really have a breakthrough here?
It is a major breakthrough. As to what the FA will do in response, we don't know. Let's not forget that the FA and government's case was called today in court. It has been adjourned. So there's that on one side. But if you talk about discussions and the way forward in terms of actual football on the ground, yes, then this is a major breakthrough, especially if you have people like Toby Afede telling clubs to unite and listen to the liaison committee and see what good things could come out of it. It is major, so the clubs could be happy. And if you're a football fan, be prepared. Maybe football could be returning sooner than you probably expected.
So quickly before you leave us, the EXCO that has always presented itself as autonomous, you know, and no interferences, and we've had this, you know, with FIFA backing and all. So now what happens? Because there's government interference in a way.
Well, in a way, it's not full-blown. Let's not forget, up until when FIFA defines the law and says that government is interfering, government has not interfered with anything. Government has been talking to FIFA, and it is through those discussions that we've had this liaison committee that was set up by FIFA and CAF with consultation from the government. So I think FIFA is watching on the side and is happy with the way things have progressed. So until the day government oversteps its boundaries and says that we are actually running football, FIFA will be very upset. Up until then, government can secretly decide to pull strings like it is doing now through a third party like the liaison committee, and maybe it could get things done quietly without the complications of a ban and getting the FA overexcited, quote unquote, and going to court and having this go back and forth all over the place.
But all in all, it's a good move for Ghana football.
It is. At least the workers who have been out of work and have not received salaries for 2 months will be paid. The other part is that the Ghana Stars, who are supposed to play in the CAF Confederations Cup, have been promised some financial support and some logistical help also. So that's good. So if you have these two things happening, like I said, it puts governments in a position of power, as it were, and then they'll have to sort out the legal gymnastics in courts with the EXCO on one side.
Nathan, thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right, so you're still watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. We have more news when we come back on the GFA.
We're still staying with football. The Ghana Football Association has asked for more time to respond to an injunction application by government against them. According to the lawyer for the GFA, Abu Nwan, their clients were served with the suit late last Friday and were therefore unable to respond. They therefore pray the court to adjourn the case to Thursday, 12th July. The AG, represented by Deputy Godfrey Dami, did not oppose the request by the GFA. This new application follows the expiration of the 10-day injunction secured by the government in the High Court on the 12th of June. The government, as part of its move to restructure the GFA, followed revelations of corruption through Anasa, Aremiya Anasa's investigative piece, began some processes, including a petition for the dissolution of the GFA. But the GFA has challenged the Attorney General's petition at the High Court seeking for the dissolution. Moving on to other stories. The Accra High Court has ordered the investigator in the former Cocoa Board boss Stephen Opuni case to retrieve some missing documents and make them available to Dr. Opuni. The documents include all letters written by the Public Procurement Authority in connection with Little Vit fertilizer during the tenure of Dr. Opuni. Additionally, all fertilizer contracts entered into by Cocoa Board from January 2008 to 2018, among others, are to be retrieved.
Chief State Attorney Evelyn Kilson told the court her department cannot help Dr. Opuni since the documents are not in their possession. Mrs. Kilson further questioned the relevance of some of the documents, particularly the one preceding Dr. Opuni's tenure. Meanwhile, spokesperson for Dr. Opuni's legal team, Victor Adawudu, in an interview with the media, says they have no intention of delaying the case.
AG has said that, one, the documents they are talking about are not relevant. But you are the same person who is referring to this document in your charge statement. Two, you are saying you've not even seen the document. So how do you say these documents are not relevant? You are suppressing documents, and we believe that they are documents which will exonerate, absolve us. Documents that they know does not support their charge, that when they bring it, they will be exposed. And these are documents they don't want to bring. That's why it's been difficult for them to get this document. These are documents we have seen, has been shown to us during investigation. So if the state itself wants to suppress this document, I think that what they are saying makes nonsense of what the Supreme Court says, that give all the documents, that we will study the document, and in the interest of justice and fairness to the parties, I believe the judge has done the right thing. We are ready to prove that all that they have said about us, trying to demonize us, that we have stolen, we have done things which are not right, it will not hold water. That's what we are saying, and we believe in our case. And I'm saying that we will have our day in court. Let AG give us the documents as the investigator has been ordered to make sure he gets all the documents so that it doesn't delay the trial. Because if you don't give the document and any documents introduced whilst we are going on the trial, we will be forced to look at the document critically and also come with it. But if we have all the documents we are going to tender, we will study it and the trial will go on smoothly.
So in the event where the AG or the state is unable to provide you with this document, what would you do?
No, if they don't provide us with this document, the trial may start. But if we start, it will delay. Because any documents you bring in, we will need to cross-examine. We will need to cross-examine. We will not leave that because that is our right. And I'm not sure anybody or court can say that we should not cross-examine on a document. So it will be better and interest of all of us to see a speedy trial if the documents are made available. If they are not made available, any day, any time, we get those documents or we will have to ask for them. That is what will delay the trial.
Right, turning our attention to the legislature, Parliament has reconstituted its Privileges Committee of the House. This follows last week's decision by 3 members of Parliament from the Central Region to recuse themselves from ongoing investigations and public hearings into alleged contempt of Parliament hearings instituted against outspoken Assin Central MP Kennedy Ohene-Japon. The 3, Gomwa Central MP Nana Eya-Kwansa, Aguna West MP Cynthia Morrison and Upper Dencha West MP Samuel Nsua-Jan argued that their closeness with the alleged contemnor and maverick politician will influence their judgment. But on the floor of the House today, Majority Leader and Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Osei Mensah Bonsu took a swipe at the refusal of the 3 MPs to partake in the contempt hearings and announced their replacements as Yao Boabea Samoa Adenta, Yao Mama Afo German South and Nana Ikia Efriye Ablekuma North.
Speaker, the committee ordinarily should have taken a decision on whether to accept the request or not to accept. But they positioned themselves in such a manner as if it was a fait accompli. Once they have submitted the application, it must be granted. That was a bit unfortunate. Having said so, Mr. Speaker, subsequently we have invited them and they've explained to us the reason why they recused themselves. The Speaker, accordingly, the leadership of the majority put our heads together, and in respect of the 3 who have declined to participate in the proceedings relating to the referral, we have accordingly nominated the Honourables Yao Boabea Samoa, Honorable Yao Afo, and Honorable Akuya Efriye to fill in the vacancies created by the 3 who have left, so that the committee will be given the muzzle to start a full throttle conduct of the business referred to them. The Speaker, let me stress that this is not a full-scale replacement of the 3. This is just for the purpose of the referral that you are considering in respect of the honourable member for Assin Central. So when they are through, when your committee is through, the 3 members will be reinstated accordingly.
Now, the legal team of the petitioners at the center of the investigation that led to the removal of the Electoral Commission Chair, Charlotte Osei, says it will speed up action to get all evidence of her alleged dubious dealings to the special prosecutor. According to them, it is prudent to furnish the special prosecutor's office with all documents to commence investigations immediately. There's more in the report filed by Citi Newsroom's Philip Nilate.
Staff of the EC petitioned President Akufo-Addo in July last year to remove Mrs. Osei over allegations of fraud and financial malfeasance. President Akufo-Addo subsequently referred the petition seeking to impeach Mrs. Charlotte Osei to the Chief Justice, A 5-member committee was set up by the Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Ekufu, to investigate separate complaints brought against the 3 persons by the Ghanaian citizens who recommended their removal. Madam Charlotte Osei has since been removed after she was found guilty of various procurement breaches. Her 2 deputies were also sacked for similar offences. But speaking to Citi TV after a press conference, lead petitioner Forsen Ampofo also disclosed their readiness to cooperate with the Special Prosecutor's Office to investigate each contract signed to bring the former EC chairperson to book in instances where she is found culpable.
To investigate the matters, the money that we are talking of, we want to investigate the excess money that she added to one the PPA approved to her. Do you get it? Yes. So we want the special prosecutor to investigate so that he will get our money back. We will sit down that she will take our money. The money is no more. It's not small money.
How much are we talking about?
One is $7 million. One, I can give you one. It's $7 million, and the PPA approved some 76,000, and she made it $209,000.
One of the lawyers for the petitioners, Maxwell Opoku Ajiman, also noted that the legal team will expedite action to get all evidence to the Special Prosecutor's Office immediately.
We were instructed first by clients, and the clients first said we should apply Article 146, which is impeachment. We have succeeded in doing that. Now our clients, not us, our clients, from the view that they want to pursue the matter further. So they want to pursue it further, and we are lawyers, and as they are lawyers, when they give us a brief and we think that it's a brief worth looking, we will consider it. So it is not a matter of having concluded. One is concluded, but the procurement breaches are all criminal offenses, and they are in the statute books. So that is what they wanted, so that at least maybe it will serve as a deterrence to future office holders, that you don't just come in, misapply the law, make some gains, monies, you are asked to go home, to go and spend the money. No, I think you have to have an interest that we get the money back. At least that money you can enjoy a little. That is what should motivate Ghanaians. It won't be long, because justice delayed is justice denied. The more we delay, the more. So we will sit down with them, hopefully today and tomorrow, and then we take it from there.
Well, you're still watching Citi Newsroom with me, Bobiose, and before we go for the break, though, I just want to find out from you. I mean, the move by government to pay the outstanding salaries of GFA staff, I mean, how does it affect the power play between government and the GFA?
You know, I think in a way, I don't know so much, but it appears that government is really coming in to, one, save the lost image of Ghana football, because, I mean, this was quite terrible out there. Yeah. And I also think that, in a way, government is taking charge, of the FA, and all this autonomous status of the FA is really going to come down. That is what I think, because if the government is paying you, you are careful how you deal with things,
Certainly. We'll bring you updates on that story as and when we get them. But before we go, after the break, we will explore how the activities of black market traders is affecting the stability of the city.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
What one action have you taken? What one statement have you issued?
Well, we've been issuing statements, even this...
on the specific issue of...
This very one.
Of no bed syndrome. Since you are saying that you've heard this before.
Well, we keep talking.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
because we're giving only those in their third trimester. So in the next 3 months, those in their second would be ready to receive the kits. And we're taking data at registration, which is before they take the kit, at delivery and post-delivery, so that we can analyze and we'll see the numbers. So from the numbers and the data that we're collecting, we would know what has worked, what hasn't worked, you know.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.
Thanks for staying with us now in business. It is emerging that a failure of the Bank of Ghana to clamp down on the growing operations of black market traders in the foreign exchange market is contributing largely to the depreciation of local currency. In this report, Citi Newsroom's Pius Amehir Eduku speaks to stakeholders from the recent debate on solving the city's continuous depreciation against major international currencies.
A wide-known fact of the city's perennial depreciation against major trading currencies like the dollar will eventually become the basis for unresolved debate between the major political parties after a tweet by former President John Dramani Mahama. In response, Vice President Dr. Mamudu Bawumia insists that the NPP government has performed better, considering the marginal drop in the rate of the depreciation. But businesses are still reeling under the effects of the depreciation. At major business trading hubs in Accra, i.e., the Central Business District and Aboti Okai, importers such as Benjamin Yabua are yet to come to terms with dwindling profits.
If, unfortunately, we are not having some monopoly of the items on the market, then we have to go by market trend. And therefore, people are being forced to increase their prices. The sad part is that if you increase your price and you are not getting the sales that you require, then what are you going to do?
Forex bureaus are alternatives to commercial banks in the supply of foreign currency. They are blaming the central bank for the current hike in the depreciation of the currency. Salas Opong operates a forex bureau here in Accra.
They are with them in Accra, especially the Bank of Ghana is just here and Caroline is here. They know them. I perceive even if Bank of Ghana releases currency to the banks, they intend to give it to the black marketeers, right? And they know what they do. It's not today or tomorrow. It's been since time immemorial. They are with them. The police, the bankers, whoever. And the businessmen too. The businessmen, the tough ones, they ask them for money.
Citi Newsroom's analysis of the city's performance shows that between the first and second quarters of 2017 and 2018, the city has depreciated between 1.61 and 3.89%. In solving the situation, economist at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Lord Mensah, wants the central bank to trigger stricter FX rules, the absence of which he projects the city could trade at 5 cedis to $1 by the end of 2018.
I don't expect it to be losing its streak to the end of the year because of the interventions that the Bank of Ghana is likely to come in with. The Bank of Ghana is likely to pump in the dollar to stabilize the city. But like I said, if you should leave the market, purely demand and supply, to determine the city level, I can tell you that it will go beyond 5.2 to the end of the year.
Meanwhile, some commercial banks like GCB Bank are expanding their scope in FX trading to increase access to the dollar.
We have pools of dollars and sterling and euros which come into us. We are now starting to play vigorously in the foreign exchange sector, and we hope that soon we will take a leading position.
Well, let's head to the central region now and to the story of the Commander Sugar Factory, a $35 million project born in 2016 to become the lifeblood of industry in the area. The factory has remained dormant since its early test run in 2016, and management has now resorted to selling the sugar cane to distillers of the local alcoholic beverage popularly known as Akpeteshi. Our central regional correspondent Joseph Akon Mensah visited the factory and reports.
I visited the 125-acre seedling farm of the factory. Harvesting of the grown sugarcane was going on. Young men were loading the sugarcane into a huge cargo truck. Customers had come all the way from the Brongahafo region to make their purchase because they had learned there was sugarcane available. One of them spoke to me.
We came to buy the sugarcane, and the purpose we are also going to plant it. We're going to use it as a seed production. That's what we came for. We will use it for alcohol.
Last year, Citi News did a report on how outgrower sugarcane farmers across the central and western regions were crying over how the factory was no longer buying the sugarcane they started growing when the factory was inaugurated in 2016. What is happening now is that the sugarcane plants have turned into fiber and have lost a lot of their water content. This means that they cannot be used for sugarcane production, even if the factory were operational. A source within the factory tells me the harvest and sale was officially sanctioned by the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Auntie Grace distills akpeteshi in large quantities at Eja number 3 in the Mfantsiman municipality. And she has also started buying sugarcane from the factory, but she is not so happy about the current turn of events at the factory.
Molasses would have been cheaper for us, the distillers. Buying and transporting the raw sugarcane is very costly, so they should let the factory work for us to rather get molasses. Because if your transportation if you
Sources at the factory tell me the sugarcane will sprout again, but if funds are not provided, nothing beneficial will come out of it. For now, the premises of the 35 million India Exim Bank loan facility is bushy. Machines are not working, some showing levels of rusting with no work done. From Commander in the Central Region, I am Joseph Akunmensa for Citi News.
Well, let's now go on the phone lines to speak to our Central Regional Correspondent, Joseph Akonmensa, to give us some more insight into this very sad story. Good evening, Joseph.
Good evening.
Well, great to have you on Citi Newsroom. So, in 2016, when the factory was commissioned by then ex-president John Dramani Mahama, we expected that this factory would produce sugar that will consume locally and also export and create a lot of jobs. But we've not experienced any of that. How did we get here? Can you catalog basically the backstory to this factory?
What actually happened in 2016 was that when the factory was initially inaugurated, some sugarcane was bought from local farmers in the central and western regions, and then there was a test run at the factory. And when you go there, that happened, and there was some product that they had, which they said was as a result of the test run, plus even molasses that some of the distillers bought. Then we were expecting that it was going to go on. But what happened was that there was not enough sugarcane in the area to daily supply the factory. And as a result of that, we were told it was going to be shut down for some time, and then it could work again. Now, at the time it was shut down, then we're entering into the time that normally the machine should even go off so that it starts again. So the hope was that somewhere around getting to the end of the year and then even early 2017, the factory was going to be operational. But as we talk, apart from the test run that was done, the factory, if you go there, the place is as quiet as a cemetery. The machines are just laying idle and all that. Nothing is happening at the factory right now. There has been a back and forth of the previous government and the current government, each one giving its own version of why the factory is not working. Yeah. But the bottom line is that the Commander Sugar Factory, as we talk, is lying idle.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know that, like I said, when the factory was commissioned, we were expecting that it would create thousands of direct and indirect jobs. And so my question to you is that the people within the community, I'm sure they were very hopeful and expectant. Are they disappointed? I mean, are they angry at the fact that they did not get the promises, their promises realized? Have you spoken to any of them? And what's the feeling they communicate to you?
Yes. The people have spoken to many of them, and they are in two groups. We have the outgrowers who are in the central and western region. I mean the sugarcane outgrowers. They started growing their sugarcane again with expectation that the new factory was going to buy. Because when the factory started buying the few ones, they saw that it was very profitable than selling their sugarcane to the distillers, the apprenticeship distillers. So they started growing it, and then the factory just stopped working. So these people are highly disappointed. Now they are resorting to going back to their apprenticeship distillation. And then we also have another group of people, the youth in the area, those who were actually employed as factory hands, especially in the community of Commander itself, taxi drivers, petty sellers, and other people. When I spoke to some of them, you could see women who were selling rice and other things. And they were telling me, at the time the factory was working for that short time, the economic boom in Commander was great. Now they are all disappointed. You speak to them right now, and there's no hope. You see, the pen might have turned political. There's no hope that it's going to work. Some of them tell me that, in fact, they have lost all the hope in it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So people are actually disappointed in it. It's a huge discussion in taxis, in the communities. When you go to their lorry stations and other things, you mentioned the Commander Sugar Factory, and the reaction is that of some kind of bitterness. And some were saying to me on Saturday that they were of the view that that factory could have even been one of the, maybe they commended Niagara for approving district version of the one factory, one district, one factory policy. But we are very much disappointed. If you go there, it seems there's no hope for it right now. So there's disappointment in the area.
Well, I mean, some research done into this by some stakeholders believe that, like you mentioned earlier in this interview, that there was not enough raw material to keep the factory running. I mean, is this the case? I mean, on the ground, basically.
Yeah. What actually happened was that when the factory was constructed, a 125-acre land just adjacent the factory had sugarcane seedlings planted, and the aim of it was that it was going to be distributed to the outgrower farmers in the central and western region, because the only raw material needed by the factory is sugarcane. And then the factory itself also had a piece of land just opposite it, and they were going to grow it there. But most of the supply was going to come from the outgrower farmers. Now, these are the seedlings that were grown on the 125-acre land. And it was the seedlings were supposed to be planted, given to the farmers to plant in about 6 to 8 months' time. That is in 2016. Now, the seedlings have been there for 2 years. And when you go there, they are now fully grown sugarcane. And because they were planted as seedlings, the way the planting was done was not meant for full growing of sugarcane. That's why it has now turned to, okay, now these seedlings have now overgrown their seedling stage. They are now full-grown sugarcane. The factory is not working, so they are also losing the water content in it, becoming fiber. So let's sell them to the apprenticeship distillers. That is why this new turn has come in. So the factory says that this is the rainy season. We better cut the sugarcane, sell it to them, and then it will sprout again.
All right,
but unfortunately, this
Joseph,
when the sugarcane grows again in 6 to 7 or 8 months' time, and the factory is still dormant as it is now, then we should expect another cycle of harvesting it and giving it to the distillers.
All right,
the only thing that can save the factory is coming to operation.
All right, so Joseph, if you can hear me, so finally, people want this factory to come online. Have you spoken to the MC, the regional minister, to find out what plans the central government has to make sure that this factory comes online, creates the jobs we need, and also helps us in exporting sugar? Because currently we are importing about $200 million worth of sugar into the country. Have you spoken to the authorities, and what are they saying their plans are?
What is happening there is very, let me say, sad. You want information about the factory, and even the workers or the officials at the factory have been told that they shouldn't communicate with the media, and that every question should be directed at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So in the region, in the central region, it is very hard for the media to get actual official information about the factory. Everything is like some kind of coding. People speak to you off their record, but they tell you the ministry is the only official mouthpiece. So the region, it's very hard for people to comment on it, to give you very solid information about how the factory is going to be revived. The regional trade ministry directorate and the regional administrators and all that, and the workers there, you go there and it's like they have something to say, but they say, we have been told not to speak. You should only speak to the Trade and Ministry headquarters at Accra. So that's actually what is happening here in the central region. Very sad for media men and women who want to get information about it. All
right, Joseph Akonmensah bringing us up to speed with the state of the Commander Sugar Factory. We'll keep an eye on that story and speak to the officials to get their response to that. Still staying with agriculture, farmers in the Sunyani municipality of the Bono-Afo region are demanding better roads to save their farm produce. The farmers say they continue to incur post-harvest losses due to bad roads in the area. In the following report, Citi Newsroom's Michael Sapon informed details the plight of the farmers in Kurosua No. 1, a community in the Sunyani municipality.
The road that leads to Kurosua No. 1 from Inwewesia, the road is bumpy and narrow, making driving very difficult. Gullies have been created on the road as a result of the recent rains in the area, making accessibility to the community difficult. Kurosua No. 1 is a food basket of the Sunyani municipality, with cassava as a major crop. Many of the inhabitants, especially the youth, are into farming. According to the farmers, they are running at a loss because drivers are unwilling to cut their foodstuffs to the markets in Sunyani due to the nature of the road. Some of the farmers spoke to Citi Newsroom.
Vehicles that ply on this road have difficulty when coming. And because of that, normally, sometimes when they are coming, they get stuck on the road. It becomes a challenge. If they are even coming to cast some foodstuffs to town, and they have that problem, some of them will not come, especially the taxis will not come because of the flooding nature of some aspect of the road. So that is a challenge that you are facing, erosion here and there, compounding the problem.
Oma me ye kwana ma ya Kurosua No. 1 ha de ye de ye nto aba o ye nto aba ne nto aba chana hwa na bia nsi ha se oba beto aba se oba nini pa o ha oba beto ye nto aba ye nto aba ma bia uni ya oba ha ye be bu de mpampura kata wani ama wo de akoba bia wo ko ye nto aba afiwe sa 2020 ye nto aba.
Drivers who also ply the Kurosua No. 1 road also share their sentiments.
Even when it's rainy season, cars like a certain taxi like this, unless only the vans and the pickup can always load to this Kurosua, taxis cannot come here at all. And for that matter, I always go to the fitting shop, spend a lot of money there.
Quantity, in fact, and you cry, and my moka, or more than minimum mocano, or mocana, the answer as a classic car by a monument, the union free crew farmer. A bias, I buy hen or boa mona, or your crying a moment, I say, near maybe a so mono, on farm almost a gun of Funibia.
For Citi Newsroom, Michael Sapon from reporting from Kurosua No. 1 in the Sunyani municipality of the Bono-Afo region.
Well, back here in Accra, you're watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. My name is Bobi Osei.
And I am Frema Dinyame. We take a breather here. When we come back, we will be telling you the story of a nurse at the Legon Hospital who is healing her patients in a special way.
Every Thursday night on Citi TV, you're welcome to join women from different backgrounds and opinions as they weigh in on your relationship issues. Watch Sister Sister as the ladies get real with issues about love, marriage, betrayal, sex, dating, trust, finances, and more.
Sometimes some of the guys are like, oh no, they want to wait before they get married.
So there are little people
Oh, I'm saying, hold on, lady. What if she does, or they kiss and all of that?
And still nothing.
That's it.
If he really wants you like that.
You see, so it's like,
Join Jessica and her sisters for Citi TV's all-women talk show, Sister Sister, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Also, live on 97.3 Citi FM.
Hello again. Now we move straight to the Ashanti region, where some residents in parts of Kumasi continue to litter even after city authorities installed waste bins at vantage locations in the metropolis. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly recently placed waste bins along major streets in the metropolis as part of its Keep Kumasi Clean and Green campaign to rid the city of filth. A month after the Assembly launched the campaign and installed the waste bins, some residents are still defying the order and continue to litter the environment. Citi Newsroom's Ashanti regional correspondent has more in this report.
Residents are worried about the poor sanitary conditions in the metropolis. Refuse here are often not properly disposed. Most of them end up in drains at Dr. Mensa, Subin, Kejetia, Alaba, the Central Business District, and parts of the Kumasi Central Market. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is trying to reverse the trend, but residents make this counterproductive as residents continue to dump refuse anyhow, flouting sanitation bylaws. The Assembly recently launched a sanitation campaign and renewed its pledge to make the metropolis, which was once called the Garden City, clean. At the Konfanochi roundabout, refuse are dotted all over. But who is to blame for this?
I think there is inadequate education prior to AMA trying to take this in at the vantage point. Because looking at those people who are living, sorry for me to say, they are less educated, and some of them do not have an idea either they have to set waste into the bin. So I think that city authorities have to do some form of education, particularly people who are
because of ignorance. Okay, and another reason is people are not ready for change. People are already addicted to their old ways. So now adapting to a new way of something is not easy for them. Putting the waste bins there alone is not okay. They should also ensure, okay, and enforce that people are around who are going to ensure that people do the right thing.
Some of the dustbins are also full to the brim, and city authorities are not collecting them. Other people have taken advantage of the situation to dump their refuse close to the waste bins that were installed not long ago. Shop owners who are close to where the waste bins have been installed are not happy about the situation. They are calling on city authorities to do something about the film.
ball ane de nka en hadwen na the way a omo yi ball no emwaye esa so omo meyi ni da bia enti ball ane tumi ye massa na eta street ni so onwa ye twam onwa yen ya ye ton ade hwehwem waye because obi beto ade ne ball esi wanu anya de a obeto obetwam akọ.
Authorities at the assembly say they will look into the matter and respond appropriately. Hafiz Tijani, Citi Newsroom, Kumasi.
Now, as the Coastal Development Authority gets ready to kickstart its mandate, some coastal inhabitants, including fishermen, while expressing hope, have called for a better understanding of the authority's mandate. Citi Newsroom's Western Regional Correspondent Akwesi Ejenim has been interacting with some coastal dwellers on the expectations of the new authority.
Ghana's 4 coastal regions, including Volta, Greater Accra, Western and Central regions, have over 200,000 of its inhabitants engaged in the fishing sector, which also serves as a major livelihood for over 2.7 million people in the country. Though the fishing sector contributes close to 4.5% to GDP and a crucial source of protein to many Ghanaians, its stakeholders across the coastal line have development issues. It is for this reason that whilst campaigning in Sekondi during the 2016 general elections, candidate Nana Akufo-Addo assured coastal dwellers a development authority to better their livelihood.
Secondly, coasting a free half a city, Kwakusi, Kita, Chichu Afari for when I sit and Yakra. The fishing communities along the coast have been abandoned by the society. We're going to establish a coastal development authority for the coastline, the coastal peoples of Ghana, which is going to allow us to channel, to use it as a vehicle for the rapid development of the coastal states of Ghana.
18 months into governance, the Akufo-Addo-led administration has kept its promise of establishing the Coastal Development Authority and also made crucial appointments of administrators as well as inaugurated its board, with a mandate to provide a framework for accelerated economic and social development through mobilization of resources, formulating initiatives and coordinating activities across the 4 coastal regions. The Coastal Development Authority seems set to start impacting lives of coastal dwellers. Though optimistic about the authority, leadership of fishermen in Sekondi demands better understanding of the authority and their participation.
We have a hazy idea of what the whole thing entails, but if we can get copies of the whole coastal development establishment, what it entails thoroughly, I think that will help us to give out our ideas on it. The documents should be translated into the coastal languages, the Nzema, the Fante, the Ewe, the Gan. We are the 4 coastal regions involved in fishing. So if it can be translated, the documents can be translated, including the English itself, it will be okay by us, yes.
Though with little information on the authorities' mandates, these fishermen at the Bosomchisan Fishing Harbour and Injurisia are anxious the Coastal Development Authority can address their concerns from supply of fuel to loans for expansion and partisanship in the sector.
For Yatiraban or the authority development, Yajitum, Yadaban Sasi, Mumu down here, Wabayam, Japera, one ma. The moon fishing boat acasano, and when you won't come out, shall be one to Munquated. And now, Adoba Qua, yen here there about my man, Bosebi, Iwaha, and now our board motto, no so over, and a party summon. Oh no, and no qua no how I drank a sankat into Abamanu one con, or can be in my aya pound and Chichimba, Papa, Palma Korean on Yegma, because in this for ba. Petro a simple tomb, wo bima, and this for champion before. The mass young people baby so Mawaya no so and Shada on ye on Quay, ma apofin for way down on Pobaby or Capofin for him, or Capoton for the bar, if you so assembliano. Intabanum qua Mshani bia on our fourth button as Papa. Papa Abanam Biara Babagan Hebiano. I see about that fishing him. Abantum for Yejma. Aye, Kufobeno about any lad fishing yet. The man at the Miss Bay, a bad lad fishing yet,
a man paying mamma, obey that fishing yet. Then I go far to obey that fishing yet. 6 hours that fishing went away, I better.
Of course, and we have more on the coastal developments in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, the Ghana National Petroleum Authority has denied supporting the campaign of its board chairman, Freddie Blay, at the recent internal elections of the New Patriotic Party. This follows calls by the minority in Parliament for forensic audit into the operations of the GNPC after allegations of vote buying by Mr. Freddie Blay. I have been joined in the studio by my colleague, Sisters Don Ulo, to give us more on this development. Hello, sisters. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Firma.
Right, so could you bring us up to speed on how we got here?
Yesterday, the minority in Parliament issued a statement condemning what they say is the profligacy of the now chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, in his campaign and months leading to his election at the Kofredia conference yesterday. And the minority, in the opinion of the minority, they say the chairman spent so much money, which money they believe came from GMPC, where he is board chairman, and they are condemning GMPC for supporting or sponsoring the campaign of Mr. Freddie Blay. Let me just read excerpts of that statement that they issued yesterday. And it says that we take judicial notice that the newly elected NPP chairman, Mr. Freddie Blay, is not a mere private citizen, but a high-ranking public official, having been appointed by President Akufo-Addo as board chairman of the prestigious Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, last year. And for that background, they believe that the monies that was used by GNPC, supposedly or allegedly, to sponsor the campaign of Mr. Freddie Blay should be looked into. That investigation should be conducted. They are calling for a forensic audit into the sponsorship package that they believe came from the GNPC to Mr. Freddie Blay. They want the accounts or the books of GNPC audited. That is where the story came from.
Okay.
Less than 24 hours after that statement came out, we got a response from the GNPC saying that their attention has been drawn to the statement by the minority in Parliament, signed by a ranking member on Mines and Energy. And these are the corrections the GNPC is seeking to make to that particular statement that was issued by the minority. And I'll just read it as it is.
Just
says
quickly.
that says that GNPC did not in any way support or play any role in Mr. Freddie Blay's campaign. The corporation has a robust financial system that will not allow any official to approve or receive funds to support programs not set out in its work program and budget that is approved by Parliament.
So it settles it?
Supposedly. We'll wait to see what evidence the minority has.
All right, so let's leave it here until we hear something else from the minority. Thank you very much, sisters. All right, so you're still live on Citi Newsroom. Now to the inspiring story of a nurse at the Legon Hospital who is going out of her way to care for her patients. Gertrude Youngson has spent the past 6 years trying to be a different kind of medical professional, and a recent Facebook post on her treatment of a critically ill patient has brought her story to thousands around the world. Citi Newsroom's Farida Shaibu visited the hospital and has filed this report.
On her Facebook wall last week, Gertrude Youngson, a midwife at the Legon Hospital, posted a picture of herself barbering the hair of one of her patients, Abu Zakari. The young man was rushed to the facility after he fell from a 2-story building one night when he got up from his sleep to pass water. Abu, a plumber under training, has been here for a month. He was brought in here very unkempt by his employer after the incident. Since then, he's been left on his own.
He woke up in the night to go and urinate. So he was standing there. He felt a little dizzy. I think he was still sleepy. So before he realized, he was on the ground. I have a little talent. I wouldn't say... I used to barber my colleagues' hair. I went to a boarding school, actually, in Sweden International School. So I used to barber the classmates. If your hair is bushy, and your parents are not there to take you to the barbering shop, just give you a clean cut. I don't know how I got to do that though, but so when I found that his hair was quite bushy and he's been here for a month now, so then I decided to just give him a clean cut. I posted it on Monday. I did the barbering on Sunday. So I posted it on Monday. It was I don't know, I think it was just an intuition something. It dawned on me to do it and I did it.
Did you think twice about it?
Yes, I thought twice about it because people will be thinking I'm using it for likes, which I don't know because there's no money in getting likes, more likes. So, but I wanted
thousands of likes.
Yes, we have over 5.6K now.
5,000.
5,000, yes, plus. So I'm really appreciative. I'm really grateful to everyone who responded to this call.
The magnitude of the fall was so great, it has affected Abu's movement. At the moment, he feels numbness in his legs.
All that the doctors wanted to do for him, initially they wanted to take a CT scan to ascertain exactly which parts of the nerves are affected and all that, but he wasn't having the means.
Abu is receiving treatment, but it will take some surgeries and obviously enough financial support.
As at the moment, we have over 10,000 Ghana cedis in our accounts, yes. And we've taken the MRI to, it cost 2,550 cedis. So I updated I'll keep the receipts and then update the people who contributed.
Doctors.
Man, touching story there.
Yeah, we need more of such health professionals.
Trust me. Let's get you. Thank you so much for your help there. And that's it for the Citi Newsroom. Visit citinewsroom.com for more news. My name is Bobie Osei.
And I am Frebedu Nyame.
Many thanks for your time.